Well, first let me start by thanking you guys for coming out here and covering us on Thanksgiving weekend. I appreciate that. Means a lot to us. Want to thank our players and our coaches. Um, this is the most mentally tough group of players and coaches I've ever had the honor of working with. I didn't talk much about it this year as the year went on and on and on. But I've been doing this 37 years. I've never seen a team decimated by injuries like our football team. Starters, leading sackers, today. Aaron Lewis got hurt in practice. We lose Eric Rogers last week. It's just starter after starter after starter, and guys refuse to let that be anything but motivation to keep going. And every day they came out to practice and came to meetings and worked their tail off. So I'm really thrilled. I think the coaches did a great job being an example for the players. I think the players really learned a ton this year, and it's a great advancement for our program. Just keep moving forward. But I'm so proud of them. I want to thank them because they never moaned and groaned. They never, we lost 4 in a row. There wasn't anything. You come out to practice, and I'd have people that I trust come watch practice. Coach, you couldn't tell if you had won the last 4 or lost the last 4 the way your kids are working. And that to me is the chop. And I mentioned it, sometimes I'll mention it when things are tough. Sometimes I'll mention it when we're struggling. But that's what the chop is, the ability to just keep doing it when your feelings tell you differently. Right? But to direct your feelings and keep hitting that spot over and over again. And I'm just so proud of our guys. We're learning. As a program, we're learning. We're getting better, and just thrilled. To our seniors, they mean so much. It's ironic, but if you think back to 2020 in the COVID year, in late November, this is where our first game was, or late October. This is where our first game was as a team. I was a new head coach here, and those guys that are now seniors were freshmen, and for us to come out here and end the way that it did, again, just thrilled for them, and the way it, almost storybook with the snow and the whole way it looked. I'm just so happy for these kids and for these coaches because they never blinked, they never wavered, they just chopped, and I'm really proud. Obviously, some great individual efforts, and you guys can ask me about that, but I'm just collectively as a group very, very proud.
You talked about the mental fortitude of these guys, but what about the resiliency of this group? Kind of goes hand in hand, but what stood out about the way they were able to bounce back from last week and, like you said, endure that 4-game losing streak to finish as strongly as they did?
Yeah. Last week was part of it, but just look and think about it, guys. When you play this sport, you know what you're getting into. But still, those are your friends. Those are your friends that are getting surgery. Those are your friends that are in the hospital for half a week because of the game. Things that happen in the game. And, what we ask these student athletes to do is come back and go to work. And this team was special. And it all goes back to the leadership. This senior class that came in, they just led the way. They really did. They served as an example. And I think we're fortunate, really fortunate to have those guys come. And you remember that group came on 11 days, right? We recruited that class in 11 days. And certainly a blessing, right? Because there's no way you could pull that off in 11 days. But a gift from God for sure. And to have guys like Tyreen Powell and Robert Longerbeam and Kyle Mandunga, and I'll miss saying by saying it, but in 11 days, that's fortunate. Blessing.
This is the program's best Big Ten, best regular season in a decade since joining the Big Ten. I guess does that kind of make it all the more fitting that these guys are able to do that and kind of end on this note, the regular season?
It does, and I think fitting's the good word because of how they approached all the adversity. Look, this group had high goals, and I'm not going to get into particulars of what they were, but this group believed, had we had a year like we did last year health-wise, I think this record could look a lot different, but that's ifs and buts. But I'm really proud of what it looks like today. The way these kids fought, the way these coaches fought, and never wavered. It is fitting to end the season with a game like this, right? And, hats off to Michigan State. They're a good football team. But this team, our team, was on a mission today.
Can you talk about, you guys ended up scoring on 8 of 9 possessions today. That's something you just don't see nowadays.
Yeah, I think, when you look, we have a Big Ten offense, finally. I mean, the last three games, we've scored over 30 points. I don't know if we've ever done that in the Big Ten. Kirk Shiraka's leadership, great offensive staff, just so proud. And Joe Harris-Simiak, so proud of him and his defensive staff. When you look at all the guys that are not playing and they just keep going, that's, I've literally stayed away from talking about it because nobody cares. But now that it's over, I'm going to tell you that's a special group of people that overcame a lot of key contributors not playing. Some of them for the whole season, some of them for big parts of the season. And the coaching staff providing leadership was just special. So offensively, defensively, and we have a lot of guys that you saw play and at the beginning of the year weren't even in the two deep, and now they're playing in a lot of the plays in the game. So proud, really proud.
You were talking about the storybook ending with the snow and all that. For this Kyle Monungai in 2022 had one of his breakout games here, 162 yards, then a Big Ten record for you guys. Since then, he's kind of just been the face of this program. Will he, regardless of what comes next for him, what has he meant to this program?
Well, he's meant everything. I mean, he's a great example to his own room, to the running back room. He's leaving a legacy there. He's leaving a legacy on our football team as far as how to do things the right way. And to me, that's what it's about. Tradition isn't touching a statue or singing a song. Tradition is that which you leave behind, where the younger players take it and then they carry it forward. And as I said, Kyle came in here 5 years ago as an unheralded player, right? Guy that maybe had 2 offers. And he leaves what I think is the best running back in the Big Ten 2 years running. So very proud.
Just getting that 4th down stop in the second quarter, how much do you feel like that kind of turned the momentum in your guys' favor, and then just the way that you never let it go after that point?
Yeah, I think it's a big play, right? I always talk to you guys. Football games take on a life of their own. They really do. And there's critical points, and as I always say to the players, I wish I could tell you when they were. And then we wouldn't have to be here every day, right? We could go chill and then just practice those 6 plays. But the reality is you got to play every play the hardest you can with the most focus you can. And that play I thought was a big play in the game. But there was a lot of big plays. I think Ethan just really ran our offense with precision and control. I thought Kyle was excellent as always. Ian Strong, again, continues to make plays. I love our young receiving core. I think we got a chance to be good there, and we're bringing in some guys that I think can really be good too. So, I thought our offensive line did another great job protecting the passer, opening some running lanes. Overall, I thought the offense performed at a high level.
Coach, Michigan State, I believe, scored on its opening drive of the game. What do you feel like went right for you guys on defense after that to help shut them down? Yeah, I think whether it was the speed of the game, you could see today it wasn't easy to tackle today. And one thing gets lost on people, when jerseys and pants get all slick from the elements, it's really hard. If you don't really focus on wrapping up, it's hard. Now you take 2 good backs like they have that are fresh all the time because they're subbing, it makes it even harder. And I'm sure when I watch the tape, there'll be some things that we lost our gap control or we got cut off, and those backs, they're good backs, so they know how to find the hole, right? When you lose a gap, they find it, and it doesn't take them long. And that's kind of what happened on that drive. Those 2 big runs, we lost a gap. And but my hat's off to Joe Harris-Simiak and the defensive staff because they battled all week and they battled through it. We lost Aaron Lewis on Wednesday in a freak thing, and we're sitting there going, come on, you can't make it up. But there wasn't one blink. At that point, it was literally, I think everyone's just like, nothing, we just got to go. We got to go, nothing matters, we got to go. But Aaron's a great player. Desmond Igbenusson, we lost him, during the week in practice, and another crazy freak thing. So I'm just really proud of these guys. Again, I don't want to overdo it, but
I didn't talk about it all year because it wasn't the time to talk about it, but I'm talking about it now because I'm grateful for the way they came to work every day, the way that the players came into meetings and practice and lifting and all the things when it would have been very easy. They had a built-in excuse, right? I mean, it's never seen anything like it, but they refused. And I think that, this is life lessons, right? Adversity is going to come. It's not an if, it's a when. And how you respond to that adversity, that's probably the most valuable lesson that we'll teach these guys while they're here. So this will be a group that goes out into the real world and has had some really valuable life lessons.
Just we saw Tyler Needham obviously return to the field today. I guess how did that situation kind of evolve, and when did you guys kind of realize that he would be able to give you some snaps today?
Yeah, that was a really we're grateful there. I mean, when I listed him out for the season because I meant the regular season, right? I thought he'd be back for the bowl game, but if we were fortunate enough to go to a bowl game at that time, but as he, he came out of I'm not going to get into his personal stuff, but as he got out of his cast, hats off to him. He didn't have to come out. He didn't have to prove anything to me. He's a legitimate tough guy. But he was not going to let his teammates down today. And he played in a different role. I mean, I don't know if you saw. He played at tight end. I'm sure you saw, right? Number 86, Ty Needham. And, helped us a lot in the run game. When you have a legitimate tackle playing tight end, that really changes the dynamic there. But hats off to the medical staff for just doing an incredible job rehabbing him and getting him ready. We thought he'd be back for the bowl. I didn't ever think he'd be back for the regular season. And then hats off especially to Ty because, man, he crushed everything he could to be able to play today. So, again, a lot of respect for these guys.
What's the next couple of weeks to look for you guys? And do you have any messages for the selection committees of the bowls about your team?
Well, we have a plan on what we usually do between the regular season and the bowl. We got to find out when that date is, and then you fit it to the plan. So the first week we won't know. We'll find out next week, after the weekend sometime, and then we'll figure it out. Maybe we'll know a little before if something's done. I don't know how it's going to work, but I'm not worried about that. Look, our goal is to get into the college football playoff and go be a part of that, and that gives you a chance to win the national championship. And we're certainly not there, right? We're 7-5, and you are what your record says you are. But this year, 7-5 was my hats off to these guys and these coaches. They did an incredible job. So wherever we land, we'll have a great trip. And the thing that I know is so important about bowl games is you get another spring practice in essence. And the young guys, we get a chance. We're a developmental program, and what better way to do it, than going to a bowl game and developing them on the way. So we'll do our regular routine. It's served us well. And when we know where we're going, that'll be the next step, the next chapter. But these kids wrote this story this year one word at a time. They refused to get ahead of themselves. They refused to live in the past, and they learned some valuable lessons. So I'm happy for them. I'm proud of them, and look forward to getting back to New Jersey and celebrating with them. Thanks, guys.